It's been 5 minutes, so I guess that means it's time to talk about the Beano. But this time, how about something a little breezier? A top 10 list of some of the Beano's most iconic characters. The Beano is a mainstay of the channel, so it's good to give you some context about some of the Beano's greatest rogues gallery. I also have some good news. Despite what everybody says about you, audience, a lot of which I don't completely agree with, by the way, I'm going to throw in 2 bonus character strips before we hit the top 10. Oh, I really do spoil you. Number 12, the Numskulls. Leaving this out of the top 10 might ruffle some feathers, but hear me out. The strip first appeared in the Beezer in 1962 and was drawn by Malcolm Judge and later the Beezer and the Topper. As you can see, it is not a Beano OG, and in fact is actually a dirty blow-in. He even made some appearances, I believe, in the last few years of the Dandy. It wasn't until 1993 in issue 2674 that the Little Rascals joined the Beano. No, not those Little Rascals. These Little Rascals. The Numskulls are a bunch of little men who live and work in a person's body, controlling their senses, moves, and thoughts. Basically the parasites from Futurama, only feckless. We would occasionally see other people's Numskulls, but the main boy was Ed. I could do a whole episode on the Numskulls, but I will leave it there for now. Number 11, Ball Boy. Not as iconic as others, but always one of my favorites, and I hate soccer. Ball Boy first debuted in issue 1735 in an issue dated the 18th of October 1975. Drawn again by Malcolm Judge. How about that? The strip was about a 5-a-side football team who usually lost all their matches. The football aspect stood out especially in the 90s when it was dominated by the mostly brat-like characters such as Ivy the Terrible, Minnie the Minx, Backstreet Kids, and Dennis. Ball Boy was actually pretty good when it came to playing football and really stood out in the greatest Beano of all time when he joined the Beano All-Stars to take on the Backstreet Kids in a game of footy. Number 10, Big Ego. Okay, here we go. Main eventer time. The first Beano cover star created by Reg Carter and R.D. Lowe began his comic life looking for his egg. That damn ostrich just could not keep track of that damn thing. I don't think Big Ego is anyone's favorite character, but if you read the Beano, you have definitely at one stage or another been introduced to this big lovable bird and seen some variation of that very first comic cover. I am also pretty sure Big Ego is male, so it's interesting if he ever really had an egg or just felt his overwhelming desire to nurse one. Big Ego, possibly a dangerous egg-stealing lunatic, and that's why we love him. Number 9, Lord Snooty and his pals. Everyone's favourite blue blood Marmaduke, Lord Snooty, Earl of Bunkerton. No Beano is complete without the young Mog in training. Lord Snooty was in the very first issue, just like Big Ego, but was far more popular and lasted a lot longer in the comic. With his monocle firmly in place and his top hat perched just right, Lord Snooty has taken the comic world by storm. Well, maybe not the comic world, but I know who he is, and that's something at least. The young lord has proved that in a world of mischief and mayhem, there's always room for a touch of upper-class absurdity. So, let us tip our caps to Lord Snooty, the aristocratic icon who reminds us all that laughter knows no social class. He's alright. We should probably mention Lord Snooty III, but let's not. Number 8, Rodger the Dodger. Rodger rhymed with Dodger, and God knows what a dodge is, because Rodger certainly doesn't. I swear, I read an issue once where he referred to sliding down the stairs as a dodge, and then he probably wrote it in a book. He is one of the longest strips, debuting in issue 561, dated the 18th of April 1953, which was ages ago. He was basically a more refined Dennis, with neater hair and, from his first appearance, having his trademark red and black checkered top. Unlike later appearances, he had shorts similar to the more famous Menace, which he would eventually trade for some nice looking slacks. But, unfortunately, over time we lost his rather fetching white tie. Terrible choice. Rodger was my favourite for quite a while as a kid. He was a more sophisticated hooligan and stood out more than the other Dennis-esque clone, but we will get to her later. Number 7, Biffo the Bear. That's right, I put Biffo over Rodger. I barely read Biffo because why would you read Biffo? but that bear is so iconic to the Beano, being the cover star for 28 years, beginning in 1948 before Dennis kicked him to the curb in an issue numbered 1678. We didn't see too much of Biffo after that, luckily, but he popped up here and there and had a small revival for a while in a new 3 or 4 panel format, where he was mostly mute and found himself in fantastical situations. Biffo will get a video down the line. This was just a taste. I bet you're excited now, right? Well, I'm excited and I want to do it, so tough, it's gonna happen. Now take your medicine. Number 6. Calamity James. Look, he's not my favorite, but he has his cult following. I always found him rather unpleasant. This miserable looking boy, constantly hard done by. Imagine Charlie Brown. Can we just take a moment to imagine Charlie Brown, only British and minus all the charm? That's who Calamity James is. Even worse, get rid of Snoopy and add this horrible little lemming thing, Alexander Lemming. According to the Wikipedia, which I always believe because why would I not, he was apparently a replacement for Little Plum and Biffo. So there you go. I would have preferred Little Plum, but maybe that's just me. But James, he's fine, he's okay, but I don't like that lemming. I guess people relate to James for being poor, ugly, and unlucky and everything. I think I get it now. He's us. He's us. I would be amiss not to mention the little squelchy things that just started showing up and appearing in Calamity James. They are fairly unpleasant little weird goo things, possibly aliens. My theory is they are the cause of James's bad luck. Shockingly enough, James was adapted for television as a BBC 3 short film in 2023, starring Dylan Bloor in the title role. I have not watched it, but I will. I'll get to it. But before that, let's look at number 5. Little Plum. I like Little Plum. I don't know why, honestly. I guess I like his art, he's a fun character. Sure, look, he's not very racially sensitive, and his only defense is there were much worse racial stereotypical characters. The biggest thing with Plum is certainly the way he and his tribe talk, and it would be dishonest not to mention it, but it's also dishonest to pretend that Little Plum wasn't a big deal in the Beano. There were far more racially insensitive characters who mysteriously disappear from reprints of issue 1, but that's a topic for another time. Plum was part of the Smelly Feet tribe, and I always considered him in his own little sub-universe in the Beano, with characters like Babyface Finlayson and the Three Little Bears, all seeming to be set in the same time period. Maybe we could throw in the Dandy's Desperate Dan too, but nah. Number 4, Minnie the Minx. Before you get mad at me for having her number 4, let me just say she's lucky to be number 4, quite frankly. A blatant Dennis the Menace gender swap, and it's actually amazing she lasted so long and avoided being disregarded as just a clone. Thankfully, she came out during a time before the internet and was able to develop and gain her own following, becoming one of the most iconic members in not just the Beano, but in all of DC Thompson's comics. She even has a statue in Dundee, just like Desperate Dan. Where is your statue, Dennis? If she was new today, we would see those annoying videos of 40-plus-year-old men who haven't read or thought about the Beano in 30 years, getting really angry at Beano adding a girl menace. It's political correctness gone mad is what they would say. Or is it just woke now? You know what? I don't care. Don't at me. Number 3. Crazy for Daisy. Okay, it's not as iconic as others, I know, and I'm probably being a bit cheeky putting them above Minnie, but again, like I said back then, I don't care. The older I've gotten, the more fondness I have for sex pest Ernest and his unrequited longings for the Welchiest girl I have ever seen, Daisy. Maybe it's my years living in Cardiff. Maybe it's my complete lack of luck with women. Hell, maybe I'm just a sex pest, but I really enjoy these strips and I always enjoy Ernest getting a good baiting. He's similar in some ways to Calamity James, but the difference is Ernest often earns his torture, whereas James' only crime is existing. Something else I just love about the strip is the art style. It's so much different. Look at these weird feet. Nobody else in the Beano has weird feet like this. Crazy for Daisy was the most recent strip even featured in Classics from the Comics, with a 2003 story appearing in the August 2008 issue. If that doesn't speak to its quality, I don't know what does. Okay, fine, I'll move it to number 4 and Minnie's up to number 3. Okay. I fixed it. Number 2, the Bash Street Kids. Oh man, what's to say? It's the Bash Street fucking Kids. Smithy, Plug, and even the Bash Street Pups could have been on a list all by themselves. This strip has been through many changes from its name, art style, and even the main characters. I would honestly put them above Dennis. He only wins mainly due to his TV shows, but the Bash Street Kids are probably better regardless amongst us Beano fans. I keep teasing this, but one day I will cover in full the big football match between the Bash Street Kids and the Beano All-Stars in what is easily the best Beano of all time. But before anyone tells me, yes, I know, Fatty is now Freddy and Spotty is Scotty. Whatever, it's cool, I get it. I'm still going to call them Fatty and Spotty though. That's right, I'm kind of a bad boy. I don't follow the rules. I just do what I want, you know? Just a cool dude. And I'm already broke, so no point going woke. Seriously though, people who get mad at this, just calm down. It's not a big deal. You can call them whatever you want. You can call them anything you want, because let's face it, you don't read the comics, so stop pretending you do. To me, the annoying thing has been the new characters, who I feel don't really suit the style of the original 1950s When the Bell Rings character designs. But with the new art style they got going at the moment, it has become much less of an issue for me now personally, and I think they fit in just fine. But if you're still mad, you know what? That's fine, be mad. Number 1. Even Stevens. Probably the shortest running strip, but the candle that burns twice as fast burns twice as bright, or something along those lines. You know the saying, you know how it goes. With his cat and sick hoodie, Even is out for revenge on all the jerks of Beano Town. It was tough to pick number 1. I considered Freddy Fear just for his MILF mom, but Even Steven just edged them out. I have all these strips from his short 2-year run and I cherish them. The weirdest thing about Even Stevens is how he didn't take the position as cover star from Dennis, but oh well, he still stands the test of time as the greatest, most iconic character from the Beano. And if you say otherwise, watch out, because he's been known to exact revenge. Thanks for watching, everybody. Boy, I sure did say a thing or two about a thing or two. Who knows what I might say next? Ah! Come on. You didn't think it was gonna be anyone else but Dennis, did you? You goose. You silly goose. Again, like the Bash Street Kids, if we're just talking characters, we have Dennis, Nasher, Walter, his sister B, Curly, Pieface, the Colonel, the Sergeant, his granny, and others. There's Nipper, Matilda, his parents. So many great iconic Beano characters. Before the redesign. His world in the strip might be the most fleshed out of anyone's in the Beano, and apparently he's now the original Dennis's son. I don't know, I'll let you figure that out, I'm too tired. Minnie is great, but it's basically all her and her parents and occasionally some fat guy who isn't Freddy from Bash Street Kids. I have talked a lot about Dennis in the past, and I will, don't worry, be talking a lot more about him in the future. From his different TV shows, including one with puppets, which is actually a real hidden treat. He's the most iconic character the Beano has ever had. His character shaped the attitudes and even the look of all the others. There's only one, Dennis the Menace. Okay, there's two, but who cares about that softie? Boy, I sure did say a thing or two about a thing or two. Who knows what I might say next? Could be something good. Only one way to find out, and that's by liking and subscribing. Go on, you know you want to.